Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, here with my family for another Francis Family Jam, talking about Survivor, Season 47, Episode 9, Nightmare Fuel. How you doing, G-Daddy? How's your week been? What do you think of the episode?
Doing good. The episode there's a lot to unpack, obviously. I mean, you talk about jam session, there's just so much going on in this episode. It really felt like a jazz jam, so to speak, because lots going on. I hope I remember all of it because it's just so much that happened this week. It was just crazy.
Yep, definitely a lot of things happening. You were nodding your head, Sheila. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. Honestly, this last episode, I wanted to flowchart. Who's talking to who, what they're hoping to accomplish, and because it got so crazy. I mean, honestly, after I watched the episode, I forgot totally what happened. It was just a muddle. And so I've gone over it a few times to make sense of it. But I think like breaking it down like that would be good because there's some key players that seem to have webs created across the players, and it's kind of really interesting how it's all kind of laying out. So I thought maybe I'll do that. Maybe we should do that.
You have a whiteboard.
I'm not doing that.
Sheila, get a whiteboard.
That's what I'm saying.
We got a big whiteboard right here. We have a huge whiteboard right here.
What I'm saying, like, I think we need to lay it out because then you can really see what's going on. It's like the war room.
You're like a detective. Those detective shows where they put the pictures of each person.
Yeah, exactly. We put a picture of each person up
and they have like the tack with the string and like where
they're
seen and
that's what I'm thinking. Like it's getting to that point because it's just there's only 10 players, or I guess is it 9 now players, 10 players? Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, this is gonna be interesting. So yeah.
I mean, I'm into having a little flow chart. I think I have an idea of what went on, but it would be nice to see it in front of me so that I could like actually see where all the paths are going. So Sheila, if you want to start being the flow chart queen,
she's gonna have to do it.
I'll do it. And then you guys can correct me. I'll do it, and then you guys can guide me if there's some things that are amiss.
I'm not involved. Too much work. Too much work. I'm not that serious. I just want to watch the show, enjoy the show, have fun. It's not like that anymore. I'm watching the show and I'm trying to remember stuff, and I don't get to see the show because I'm trying to remember stuff.
You're gonna have to find a happy medium then, because like that's what ends up happening with recapping shows. Like sometimes when I'm not even recapping a show, I'll be like thinking like, oh, I should write that. Oh, I don't need to write that down. Okay, I can just watch it. But
and then you should have wrote it down, right? You should have wrote it down, right?
Well, it's when I'm not recapping a show though that I'm like, I don't need to make a note.
Okay,
but like
you write it down anyways.
So I'm just thinking though, like. It's either you're recapping the show and then you're kind of taking note of what's going on, or you're just relaxing and watching. You can just relax and watch, and then I can ask you stuff, and you can just not.
Perfect for me.
All right. Well, we start this episode with Sam coming back from the blind side of Sierra. He's thankful that they kept him. Got, says Rachel. Rachel and Sam hug it out. They are kind of, a little bit upset that they're completely on the bottom, that they were left out of the vote, that Andy turned on them. But now Sam and Rachel, they just want to look out for each other. So how do you feel about, Sheila, Rachel and Sam now being, kind of on the bottom and, not realizing that they really had a good asset in Andy, but they just let him go and got duped?
Yeah, it's this poor Andy. Like, no one takes him seriously. Like they kind of want him by their side if they can use him, but no one really takes his gameplay seriously. That's what I'm finding. So, that was Sam with his, tail between his legs. Thanks for keeping me. It's like,
G-Daddy. Sam doesn't
hold on
even
a
want
second.
to.
I just got to correct you. I have to correct you.
What?
Sam is the one that said, got, not Rachel. It was Sam.
I had Rachel and Sam hug after. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, I think, okay, yeah. But yeah,
right, Sam. Okay, Sam said, got.
Correct you. Sorry. That's one thing I remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sam said
Yeah,
got. He also says that he doesn't even want to look at Andy.
Yep.
Uh,
Absolutely.
would you think that Sam should look at Andy still, or you think that you should still shut him and cast him away?
Well, again, his butt hurt because he thought he had Andy under his thumb. Andy was in his control. He thought, geez, I can tell Andy whatever I want him to do. And Andy, he kind of, and he said that he flipped, right? But he really flipped a while back. I mean, he was not with Sam at all at that point. But yeah, I mean, Sam really is butthurt. I mean, that's the bottom line. His butthurt. Plus, getting rid of Andy was just like you said, not that smart because now, you've got really a two-person alliance, if you want to call it that, because Rachel said, geez, we don't want to be too, or maybe it was Sam, we don't want to be too close. We don't want to show that we're too close together. So I don't even know if they've even got an alliance at this point. So he's on his own right now, right this second. He's on his own, I think.
Well, Rachel, we were questioning last week why Rachel played the shot in the dark. There was a lot of noise with the internet as to her reasonings why. And we do learn that it was intentional. She played the shot in the dark so that she could gauge the reaction of her fellow tribe mates. I thought it was awesome, though, to know that she was being that calculated and nobody has a clue that she has an idol that she was seeing if she needed to play. So I thought that was pretty awesome. You're proud of her, Sheila?
Oh, Rachel's a fave. Rachel has become a fave of mine. My girl Genevieve still at the top because she's just a mastermind and she's doing it really elegantly and very smart. But Rachel, that was really good because when the camera panned on her and she's intently watching everyone's face, I'm like, she's really good because no one knows she has the idol. So, no, like Caroline knows Sue has one, but no one knows Rachel has one. I think that's really powerful for her.
So powerful. Again, I'm just curious as to when that's going to come out. Like, what is she going to be playing it? She's going to play it for somebody else. Because when nobody knows that you have an idol, you can really use it in a way to put you in an amazing position. And so I feel like Rachel is not just going to use it to save herself and, play it out of fear. I feel like she's going to use it strategically, which is really exciting. So I'm looking forward to both the idol plays that are in the hands of these women. I'm excited. Andy is being thanked by Teeny for voting with them this round. But then you see Andy going around doing damage control, of course, talking to Sam, saying that he spent all of his social capital to make sure that Sam was the one that stayed and that Sierra was the vote. Do you think that Andy really did put in the work to make sure that it was Sam, or do you think he's just using it to his advantage because that's the way
he's just using it to his advantage? I mean, my guy Andy is smart, especially when they said, it was you, Andy. Says, no, it was a team effort, right? It wasn't me, which is kind of true. He kind of floated along with that. So it was kind of true that he said that. But when he went back to Sam now and started his, what do you call it? Damage control. When he started his damage control with Sam, I thought that was kind of interesting because Sam was there, obviously he says, I can't even look at Andy. And then Andy walks up and says, man, I used my social capital to make sure that it wasn't you and so forth. And, Sam hugged him. And so, but everyone's playing the game right now. It's just, like Sam said at the beginning, he says Lava is a bunch of liars. Well, they're all liars. I mean, that's part of the game. Lie. lie. So yeah.
And I do remember, I think I mentioned it as well, when they were at that reward feast and they're saying if one of the original Tuku doesn't go home, then we will all stick together, work together, we'll go after them. And Genevieve did say, if. She's like, if. She didn't say, and it didn't happen, right? Tuku went home. And so it kind of was like that whole agreement was null and void because she did say only if, a Tuku, they had 5 Tuku strong at that point. But so I thought it was just really interesting that I think she said that and then what she did this episode.
You caught it.
So Andy is apologizing to Rachel, and I think that this is what a good thing that Andy does is he realizes that he's kind of screwed some people, and he immediately goes and tries to do his best to mend these fences here. He goes to Sam. Now he's going to Rachel, and he's talking about how he always wanted to work with Rachel, and I think it's really smart of him to really look at Rachel as being like, I don't want you out. I'm not trying to go after you. I've always wanted to work with you. And I'm hoping that this will actually work out because it looks like they might be turning over a new leaf and potentially working together. Do you think so, G-Daddy?
Well, I mean, he's tried, right? So he's tried to work with her, and she kind of turned him down that time when he went and said, I'd love to work with you. And she kind of turned him down.
Right.
So he's trying to reconnect with her because at the very beginning, he wanted to work with her. And I think they had a little of an alliance at the beginning, but, you know, he kind of messed that up by being too close in the dark at night and all that stuff. So he messed it up and kind of being just a little erratic at the beginning. Okay. So we all admit Andy was kind of, you know, it was chaos.
Definitely would be scary to work with in the beginning.
Yeah, definitely at the beginning. But yeah, no, I think you're right. You know, if they agree at this point to work together, it could be a good team. But I like what Andy's doing. Andy's going and is kind of creating these little alliances, you know, especially with Rachel when they reconnect. And he's kind of like he says, he's a flipper, so to speak. So he's out there. Everyone knows that he's available. They can always get Andy, you know. So he's in an interesting position. But I don't think that he's building that story yet. I'm really disappointed that he's not building the story and being out there. And maybe not, because maybe it's not time for that. But he's not out there saying, I want to do this. And I don't know if anyone would follow him at this point because he's not the leader of the pack. But I think what he's doing is great right now, just to stay in the game, make sure there's no target on him. He's kind of there, but he's not there. You know, it's one of those things right now for him, I believe.
So you're hoping that he would like lead a vote or like get people on his side and do something specifically for him? Like that's what you're hoping for him?
But you know what? As I think about it, it might be too early for him to do that because he's not a target right now. He's just going through. So it might be too early for him to do that. However, at some point, he's going to have to create his story. And he has not done that yet.
Well, I definitely agree with you. I do think that Andy has a story to say at Final Tribal Council, if he just even makes it there. But I definitely agree that he needs like a big move. They call it like resume move, resume builders. Like he does need to have maybe a big blindside or leading a vote, or you know how Mary Ann had an idol that she didn't need to use. Like something she does need to have something flashy, I think, to enable him to get the win. But I do think he has a story that he could really, you know.
He's got a story. However, you know, in my mind, his story kind of is unnoticed right now.
Right.
Even though everyone knows, I mean, he's got that hero's arc coming right there, right? So he's in a position to really flip it right now and become the hero because he's been, you know, from failure to success, I guess. He really started at the bottom. And now he's here, right? So.
I was really worried about him, though, at the beginning of the episode because he was doing a lot of narrating. And I was like, oh, my God, is Andy going home this episode? Like, it'd be too much, too stressful. But no, he's still good. He's still good. So we see Teeny and go ahead, Sheila.
No, I just said for now.
For now. I feel like Andy's getting to Final Tribal. Like, I feel like he has like a final getting to the end of the game because nobody seems to think of him as threatening. And so that's the thing is if he made one of those big moves right now, I think that people would be like, oh, we got to get Andy out of here. Like he does notice that he has a good story. So the timing of that is going to have to be very, very specific. But he has some big guys that needs to get out of there before, you know, I think
who are the big guys you think?
Well, I think the other three guys. So Kyle, Gabe, and Sam, they're all people that can beat him physically for these immunity challenges for sure.
Near the end, yeah.
Pretty much everybody can beat him on it. No, we don't just have to talk girls. I mean, guys. I mean, some of his moves are questionable.
Oh, we'll get back into that.
I don't know where Sheila's going with that. I think I know where she's going with that one. We'll find out.
Our friend Andy.
Teeny apologizes to Saul Oh, no, sorry. TD and Saul apologizes to Sam, about the vote, about like how they had to go with Sierra. I really like how TD and Saul, like they are doing their best to like make Sam feel good and comfortable, and they're not ostracizing him. So I thought that was great. And Sam, though, he says like he's fine, he's good, he's just happy to be there. He'll be fine with Andy, but he still has a vendetta against Lavo, and he's just he's playing nice for now, but he still has a vendetta for them.
Yeah, no, I just noticed his incongruency when he said, I'd be happy to work with you guys. Did you catch that?
Yeah, well, of course he's saying like that.
No,
he shook his head and
yeah, I'll be happy to work with you guys. Not.
That's actually something I was thinking of yesterday. Or the day before, I was watching this behavior analyst that was talking about this guy that was doing some testimonies for the Diddy trial, and this like he just goes through all of like exactly those same things, like the lick lip, or like the scratch in the face, or this like whatever. And like I would find it really interesting if they had somebody that had that capability in the game to see if they were able to detect like what's going on. Like I think that'd be kind of
Rachel kind of did it, right? When she didn't play when she played her shot in the dark, she looked to see what the reactions were, right? So the reactions are there. You just got to look for them.
Have you guys been watching The Traitors?
No, I was asking Sheila what that's all about. What's The Traitors about?
I have no idea.
You might enjoy this. I was specifically thinking of for The Traitors. So it's kind of like I Wink Murder, or if you played any like Mafia or Werewolf, there's social strategy games. And basically the premise of The Traitors is that there's the traitors and there's the faithfuls. And at the beginning of the game, nobody knows who they are. They go to a round table, they all are blindfolded, and the host taps 3-4 of them on the shoulder, and they're going to be the traitors. And so every round.
Are you saying traders or traitors?
Traitors.
Okay, traitors. Okay.
And so the 3 people are picked, and nobody knows who these people are that are going to be the traitors. And so every round there's a banishment. And so everybody's at a round table, and they banish somebody, and they're trying to catch a traitor. And then at night, the traitors will murder somebody. And it's usually somebody that may be on their, that might be onto them or whatever. So they're trying to conceal their identity as traitors. And at the end, if there's one traitor left, even if the rest are faithfuls, the traitor will win all the money. So it's basically a social strategy game where you're trying to detect who the traitors are. And so there's a lot to see. But the reason why people are probably talking about it is the American version has a lot of celebrities or like reality stars. And so Boston Rob is going to be on season 3 of The Traitors. Tony Vlachos. Last season, Sandra Diaz-Twine was on it. And so there's a lot of Survivor players that have been on it. Janelle was on last season. Rachel Riley from Big Brother as well. So they just have some Big Brother and Survivor legends on the season. So
what are they? Funny. It's funny. It seems like
other. Sorry, go ahead, Jill.
Sorry, babe. I was just wondering how much are they playing for? What's the prize?
So they have challenges each round, and so it's to build the pot. I think it's up to 200,000. I think is what they're playing for.
I forgot what I was going to say now.
I'm sorry. I messed you up. Sorry.
No.
You're asking about the celebrities, I think, or the.
Yeah, no, I just thought I don't know. Sensory acuity comes in handy in something like that, right? Just being able to notice things would come.
Oh my God, I can't forget Parvati. You're right, Dreadful Ruby.
Oh, Parvati, yeah, I remember her.
Last season.
She did. Okay.
And she's going to be on Deal or No Deal Island season 3. 2.
Deal or No Deal Island.
You've not watched that either?
No, this is it. This is our only thing.
We limit our reality shows because otherwise, honestly, that's all you could be doing.
What would we get done?
That's all I do. That's all I get done.
That's all you do? Watch reality shows?
Kinda, but I'm trying to make a career out of it.
That's her profession.
Well, it is your career. You're not try. This is your career.
She's a professional. We're just bystanders. We're not professionals.
Well, you might enjoy some of those shows because last season Boston Rob was on Deal or No Deal Island.
Love Boston
Well,
Rob.
that would be
Love that
Angelique
guy.
would love that. She loves Boston Rob.
I love
Of course, Boston Rob's the best. I remember seeing him on The Amazing Race a couple times, and like,
Oh, yeah,
I was
the best.
obsessed with him. He was so good.
I
So
know.
good. Okay, so where are we here? So Saul obviously believes Sam with not coming after him, and that everything's good between them now. And then Sam, Genevieve, Teeny, and Saul are all talking about Gabe being the potential next vote here, and about him being really tight with Caroline and Sue. And so I thought this was interesting. I think that Gabe makes sense. He's on Tuku. Tuku has four people. Couple of very strong people. So yeah, I feel like Gabe, it made sense for me for Gabe to be the next vote here. Do you think so too, Sheila?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they got to get one of the bros out already. Like, we've got Kyle who, wins immunity all the time. Gabe and Sam. Sam doesn't really win that much. He's not shining in any of the challenges. He's just kind of, I don't know. He's kind of like.
Well, he did narrate as like a sports broadcaster last episode, which I thought was I think he really did a good job. I don't think we talked about it last week. And like, I really liked it.
It's not going to help his game, but that was good. But I mean, as far as the game itself, he's not although he seems like he should be athletic and he seems like he should be doing well. I don't see him excelling in the challenges. And I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but I don't feel like he's a big challenge threat like Kyle at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think the threat order is kind of like Kyle, Gabe, then Sam, in who I think might be capable of winning in that order.
Exactly. And Andy really doesn't even make the cut.
Oh. It's probably good though.
You don't even count Andy.
What?
Andy wasn't even the last person you stopped at the top 3, and Andy wasn't even included to be last.
Challenges wise, I'm saying.
Be last
in the challenges. We know
Come
that.
on, at least put him on. Let him make the list. Even if he's at the bottom, let him make the list. Come on.
Just doing top 3.
So is this where Genevieve came up when Teeny? Sam,
she came up into this conversation.
So she heard that. That was for Genevieve. That was critical. I mean, that was great because she was able to use that information wisely.
Yeah.
Kate here says that Andy came in second a few times.
There you go.
Thank you for correcting me. I'll be gentle to Andy.
But the thing is, like, he's not threatening. He's not threatening.
No, yeah. He's playing a very non-threatening game. Very true. I have imagery from the last challenge. I can't get it out of my head.
Stop.
And it was really bothersome. So I'm hoping that this next episode I can erase that out of my mind.
The image is similar to when he was sawing the.
Yeah, it's kind of along the same vein.
Oh. Well, we get some tree mail here, and they learn that they're going to need to divide into 5 pairs, 5 teams of 2. So Sam immediately picks Andy because he feels as though if they get to the end round that he could beat Andy. Gabe, did Gabe pick Kyle or did Kyle pick Gabe?
Kyle picked Gabe. Yeah, same thing. He figured that he could beat him at the last round.
And then we didn't see how everybody else got reconfigured until we got to the challenge mat. But Teeny and Saul were going to be working together. Genevieve and Sue and Rachel and Caroline were going to be working together.
Yeah, and Rachel picked Caroline too. So that was right off the bat. Rachel actually picked Caroline. So they're picking them for different reasons, of course. They're picking them sometimes because, hey, I want to pick someone strong that I can get to the end with, or I want to pick someone that I can beat. So they're really having. I mean, it wasn't a random, I'll go with you. It was like, oh, I can beat that person. I'll go with them. Right. So there's a lot of strategy that was in that move that, we really didn't notice, or I didn't really notice until I started thinking about it, that, hey, they had a strategy when they picked them.
Absolutely. Do you think that if they knew in advance that they would potentially be losing their vote if they didn't do well, if people would have changed who they might have worked with?
Yes.
Why? Yes,
I
Sheila.
can't stand it. Okay, a couple of things I have to say here. A,
Well, we're
do you
not there
guys-
yet. We're not there yet.
We're
Are
there.
we
No, we're there.
Okay.
We're there. A couple things.
What?
When
What? Go
Rachel
ahead.
picked Caroline, do you think Caroline was excited about that? Because the
Ooh.
read I got from Caroline was sure, but she went really internal, and I felt like I'm mind reading, but I'm feeling like she might have gone with somebody else, but there wasn't a lot of time to make. That was just my take on that.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing was when Sam picked Andy was like, we're bros, we're buds, I'm good. And Sam really didn't pick him because they're bros. I think he picked him because he felt like he could,
Beat him.
like
Well, that was a great move, though. Like when Andy realized, okay, he picked me. This is perfect. I get a chance to work with him. We could become bros again. Because in the challenge here, they're working together. They're working as a team. All could be forgotten. Absolutely with that. So I thought that he really decided, okay, great. I'm going to go with Sam. That was great that he picked me because I've got an opportunity now to get closer and kind of mend the fence, so to speak, on the broken relationship.
I don't remember exactly how the mechanics of this went down, but there was a season in, I think it was Australian Survivor, where they did something like this where they broke into teams, but then it ended up being decided between one of the pairs who was going to go home. And so I think that could have also just maybe set some fear into people. So maybe that's what you saw with Caroline thinking like, oh, what if it's like, they have to vote between the two losers out of the two of us who's going to go home. Like maybe she was just scared that they might not be physically able to get further into the game, and like maybe that she might be in jeopardy of going home. And so that's probably why she got a little bit nervous, just because they're both really small, and she knows like all the Survivor things are super physical, and so she was probably worried that she might be in danger of going home and in this case losing her vote.
Yeah.
So this challenge was pretty difficult. It was definitely physically, you need a lot of physical capabilities here. You had to crawl under this tunnel that was covered in sand to dig out this puzzle step. Both partners had to do it. Then they had to use these puzzle steps to build a staircase. It was kind of like had different holes of different sizes that they had to put in the proper stair step. Then after that, after the first crawl through, that's when the two teams went home, which I was like, that was wild to me. I didn't actually enjoy that the people that couldn't dig the best were going to be, in jeopardy of losing their vote. 4 people. So this is where I'm assuming, Sheila, that you weren't enjoying Andy's technique with digging out the puzzle step.
Correct. That is that's like laser imprinted in my brain. It's just too much. Like it's just.
Well, he's trying really hard. He was trying hard.
He was trying. I mean, the bag broke. Sheila, the bag broke, and he said, "Our bag broke," and Jeff says, "That's on you." That's right? On you. So it was on that. Hey, the bag broke. It's on you. So, everyone else was pulling out their bag. Why did their bag break? Because they're holding it wrong, or they weren't holding the actual
I think they were probably
piece.
holding it before it was actually accessible.
Right. It was too tight in there or something like that, but the bag broke. So he made his best effort at that point to kind of, I don't know what the technique you call this, but he was using a technique to get it out, right?
Wait, wasn't that when they were trying to get the crate out of the ground, which I might add was dug so deep. Like these people don't even have a utensil to dig. They're using their hand.
It was the puzzle step. It's just
it's this puzzle steps. They had to take out the steps for the puzzle. You're thinking about
like
another
a bag
show.
of some sort.
Okay, I'm not thinking of another show. Okay, I'm not that confused.
Well, if we think of the crate being wood,
I will admit we did watch a show. What was it called? It was from 2012.
Oh, maybe that is what.
Love in the Wild. Right. They had to pull out a crate. So
okay. I'll forget the crate. But bottom line, there's Andy, butt in the air, like it was like an overhead shot, and he's doing his thing. But my point is that production, they dug those things so deep Like I thought, like give these people a break. I mean, they don't even give them shovels or anything. They got to use their hands.
Yes.
They're like,
No,
I mean, I
little
wonder, do they
posters.
put them at the same, like, is it equal?
I would imagine so. I believe that with gaming laws, it's considered to be like a lottery, and so there's certain rules that they have to abide by, and so I think that there is a fairness thing that would need to be go into play. So that's kind of why people were saying like, there's no way that Jeff would want Sam to lose his vote last episode. They're like, because of the gaming laws, is basically what people are saying. So I would assume that they would have to be even, or else it could be considered illegal.
They were in front, and I mean, Sam should have known when he was picking Andy. Andy's kind of fluffed quite a few things, so there was definitely an opportunity for that to go wrong. So unfortunately, too bad for Sam, I guess. But yeah, so, it had a high degree of chance of something going wrong.
And it did. It did go wrong.
What are you laughing for, Jill?
Gabe and Kyle are able to, get it. Sorry, is that where we are? No, sorry, before that. So yeah, basically Sam and Andy, they aren't able to pull the puzzle pieces, and Rachel and Caroline also are last here to get their, well, they didn't even get it out yet. And so they are going to be potentially losing their vote, but they will be going off on a journey to maybe gain it back. So they now have to watch these other two stages of this competition, which is what I find really frustrating, because I know that Jeff wants everybody to dig deep, and it's, Survivor, and like we want you to, go hard, but it's not like they put different types of people on this show, and so it just is unfortunate where people that are not super strong, like the Kyles are, don't really get an opportunity to go far in this particular type of challenge. So I was just kind of disappointed that Rachel and Caroline were just out of there because, they just weren't able to dig as fast as these other guys were.
I agree with that. And like Teeny with her big butt. Remember, she said she's got a big butt. She couldn't get through. And that could have been anybody that was bigger. Because she's fairly small. That could have been anybody with a big butt. I got to go take care of Mimi here. I'll be back.
Oh, Mimi, where are you going? The next round, we have Gabe and Kyle, Saul and Teeny and Genevieve and Sue moving on, where they're building these steps. And I thought Genevieve and Sue were doing exceptionally well. Like how good. Genevieve is like going, she's putting it down and she's looking at what the next is like. She's like, big, small, or whatever it was she's saying. And Sue knew exactly what she meant, and she found the piece. Like they were going so well. And I wonder it's because they're both Geminis. I was like,
maybe, but Genevieve was on it. That girl, I love that girl.
I was very proud of how well that they worked together. So they get through up the stairs first, and the beam really set them back. Sue was taking her time on the beam, and slow and steady sometimes wins the race, but not this time around, because the other guys came and they're just like willy-nilly going across super erratically, and they were able to make it across before Genevieve and Sue were able to, because they had to make it across the beam, slide down the slide, and it was only the first two pairs that got through. And that was first, it was Kyle and Gabe who came from behind, just ran erratically across the beam, slid down the slide, and won first. And then we see Teeny and Saul get second place there, knocking out Genevieve and Sue, who were doing really, really well this whole challenge. You were bummed?
Yeah, no, like Saul fell and had to get back up. He fell down on the netting, which I don't even know. Then he has to come back up and do it again. And Genevieve is still like standing on the beam. It's like she was like frozen. I don't know. Like, listen, I'm not super athletic by any stretch of the imagination, but I mean, the beam was hard because it had levels, different levels. So to say, it's the easiest to go the fastest and like just kind of, skip across with as few steps as possible. But, one wrong step and you could be really hurt.
Absolutely.
Like, so it was a little scary. Like I thought it was a scary challenge. Like I would be scared because you're high up, the beam's not, one level, and you have to navigate that. But I think the key to it is you can't overthink it. You can't like,
you have to go fast.
Hurry along. You got to go like fast.
Yeah, you have to go fast
in your
and steady.
momentum.
It's kind of like I don't know if you've ever carried a tray with drinks on it, but like if you're looking at the tray with drinks and like it's just going to be wobbly, you kind of have to just like hold it and walk with purpose. You know what I mean? And it's like so I agree with you.
I gotta laugh at that one. Just a quick
Sheila's never carried a tray with drinks?
No, when we were I guess I might have been a teenager, I don't know, but we used to have the all nights. Remember the all night movies that we used to go to the all night movies? Not this is when I was a teenager, but as you know, one of my first jobs was as a waiter, right?
Oh, that was a DJ.
Well, I was a DJ too. I did everything when I was a kid. But I remember at the all nights, we all went to the all nights, and after the all nights, you go to eat. So we went to McDonald's. And so I had the tray and I had everything on the tray. So I'm there, I used to be away. So I'm sorry, you just brought that back.
Oh boy.
That's one of my significant emotional experiences all over the place.
No.
I used to be away.
No. Oh my God.
Yeah, so you definitely got to have it there and focus on what you're doing and not look at the tray, not try to balance. You just got to go.
Or talk while you're doing it.
You can't be focused on the tray. You have to set your intention and like walk with purpose. And so I think that's what kind of stopped Genevieve from doing so well, and Sue. And Genevieve is probably the tallest out of all the people there, and it's a little bit more challenging for taller people to balance in that kind of way, just because of that whole center of gravity thing. So they lost it, and I was really bummed because I did want Genevieve and Sue to at least have a shot at winning immunity here. But
especially after Sue did that role. I mean, that was impressive.
Her second role was really good. For a 45-year-old, right?
I can tuck and roll.
I mean,
they should have let her go through just because of the role. I mean,
I thought it was great.
That's going to leave a mark.
What were we going to say about the challenge?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
No, I was just going to say that tuck and roll. I mean, that's something that she did. But yeah, I mean, they were in first, I think, for the most part,
first most of the challenge. Yeah,
and then they ended up not, moving forward. So that was unfortunate. But yeah, they were the first ones, and maybe Sue didn't know how fast to go because she didn't see anybody else. She was the first one there, and she took her time. But then again, Genevieve took her time as well after that. So anyhow, too bad for them.
I guess they're also thinking that if we're taking our time, everybody else is going to be taking their time as well. And they're like, nope, they're going to plow through it and be more erratic. And they did end up coming out on top here. So the third and final stage is going to be standing between two kind of walls, standing with their feet on these pegs on the side. Painful. They've done this before a couple seasons ago. You're grimacing, Dad.
No, sorry, I'm just thinking about the feet.
Yeah, it's painful.
I think he's thinking of the visual of the feet.
They kept focusing on the feet.
The gnarly toes.
You didn't necessarily know whose feet it was because they show the person and they show some feet. And I don't know whose feet they were. You
don't even want to know whose feet they were. It's probably better if you don't.
Anyhow.
Dirty. They've been on the island for 15 days or so. You guys are not feet people?
Well, not dirty feet.
It's actually very funny.
Gnarly toes.
This week, so I wonder if it has something to do with Paramount Plus and how Paramount Plus and Viacom and CBS are all like one company. But on the challenge this week, there was a heavy emphasis on feet and footsie, and there was fights about people's feet and like showing everybody's feet. So Wednesday night was like the night of feet with CBS, Viacom, and Paramount Plus.
So someone running it has got a feet fetish or something.
I mean, maybe this was like, oh, look at this, like we'll be the foot night. Wednesday night's a foot night.
Exactly. Someone's got a fetish.
That's disturbing.
I want to show those feet.
I'm going to actually see if it's the same editor.
Dude, one of the production guys, when they're showing like how the thing works, he had the weirdest thing. Like there was a hairy foot, but there was like no hair where the shoe like
Oh,
part of the
so it's like
the sandal. That left me so perplexed.
Oh
I almost lost what they were saying because I was trying to focus on what is that.
Well, it's probably because like maybe it gets, if you had like
it gets
the strap
worn off.
of the sandal, like the hair gets worn off. Oh,
was
I
too
didn't
much
notice
for
it,
me.
Sheila.
It was too much.
See what happens when you get us to have to focus on the show? We focus on every detail. At least Sheila does.
And that guy had hairy
Every
feet,
single
though. I've never
detail.
seen hairy feet like that. It was like a back. It was like someone's chest on
Didn't
their
notice.
feet.
Should I go back and look?
No.
Yeah, but
No,
like you'll
no.
see, it's like he's wearing socks, but not completely because there's like a white band of skin where his flip flops go because all the hair is worn off. It was disturbing.
Okay, I'm so sorry that this episode disturbed you.
That was nightmare fuel for Sheila.
Sheila's like, she's been crying. She's been
crying. It was so scary. Anyway.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at this because it isn't something that I noticed.
Really?
Fortunately and unfortunately, I guess.
Wow. Okay.
So they are standing doing this painful final stage here. In the end, winning it is Gabe. Gabe does come out on top here. And so he was what the consensus seemingly was before we got to this challenge. And so now things are going to have to change because Gabe is not an option anymore, which I thought it's usually how it goes, right? Like the person that you think is going to be the easy vote, they win immunity. So it's not going to be such an easy vote.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys feel? Like, was that who you guys wanted to have win this round, like between Kyle, Gabe, Saul, and Teeny? Or did you have somebody else that you wanted to win?
I didn't. I mean, I was just watching. I really
didn't care.
My man Andy wasn't in there, so it was not that big a deal. But I thought it was interesting when Gabe politely asked Jeff to like shut up.
Oh my God, I did write that down. Where was that?
And leave him alone.
Oh yeah, politely, Jeff, don't talk to me.
Yeah, politely.
Politely. No, I definitely would be like with Jeff. I'd be like, Jeff, shut up, please. Like, shut up. I don't think I'd be as polite as Gabe would be.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was in Vancouver and we had to climb the Chief. Sheila, have you climbed the Chief before? You probably done the Grouse Grind, but
is that Grouse Mountain? No.
Well, it's not Grouse, but it's like one of the other mountains as the Chief.
No,
anyway, so I was convinced to go and climb the Chief one day, and like it's hell. So I'm like going up these stairs that are made of rocks, going up this mountain, and everybody's like, "Come on, Chantele, let's go!" And I'm just like, "Shut up!" And like I'm just like looking at my feet and just focusing on one step at a time. I don't want any motivation. Like, leave me alone. And then I get to this first little like oasis, a little like a lookout, and it says, "Smile, you're a quarter of the way there." And I was like, ah! Like I was so mad, and they're just all trying to be so motivating and just so like, "Let's go!" And I'm like, ah. So
that happened. Real quick, I got to share this one just because it's the same type of thing at a Tony Robbins event when we were there. I think 1990 or something like that. So here we were. We were all in teams. I was a trainer for the event, right? And so I needed to be, kind of good at everything. But we had this pampa pole that we had to climb up. And you know what a pampa pole is? Like a telephone pole, very, very tall pole that we had to climb up. And the rungs were pretty far apart. And so I had actually, long story short, before that day, I had gone skydiving. Right. And I ended up hurting my tailbone skydiving. So I didn't have a lot of strength in my legs. So I get to the top and everyone's at the bottom. The whole team's cheering you on and cheering you on. I'm there, shut up, because I had to make this huge step. And they're go already. Come on, you can do it. I'm there, shut up. Like I'm focusing on trying to get up on the top of this pampa pole. We have to drop off down, grab a trapeze, one of those trapeze things. And so, I know exactly what you're talking about with that one. Like, leave me alone. I'm internal right now. I don't want to hear anything.
I'm on the ground trying to tell everyone, just let him focus. Like, I'm trying to tell everyone basically, shut up.
Completely.
I knew it would be frustrating for him.
So the next person wanted to go. I was up there probably too long trying to take that step. So
yeah, but you know what? The rungs were evenly placed, but that last one, it was a huge step to the top. I remember that because it was like that was probably planned, but yeah, but I remember that. I knew you were going to tell that story. I knew it.
Right, that was coming. Obviously, that was same thing like what Chantele's talking about here.
Totally.
Anyhow.
It's funny that both of us would not want the encouragement like Andy did. We'd just be like, shut up. Like, I don't care about the damn coconut. I'm good.
I forgot that.
Anything else that happened at this challenge that we didn't touch on?
No, I think we got all the hair and all that stuff.
And I'm glad that Gabe won, because in my mind, I thought, okay, so Kyle's fair game.
Easy.
We can finally eliminate the guy that's winning all the immunity challenges. In my mind,
that's kind of what I thought was going to happen. I didn't think him or maybe Sam, depending on what happens. Like, I just thought those two are going to be most likely to be going home here.
Yeah.
Especially since Sam was who Teeny kind of wanted last episode. And so, Sierra at first, and then we'll just get Sam out next, and nobody's going to be upset about that, really. So that's kind of where I was going as well, with Kyle or Sam. So with the winning of this, the final four are going to be going on a feast. The people that didn't get anything was going to be
Hold on. Stop, pause.
Stop the press.
We've got to talk about Gabe's celebratory dance.
Oh! Yes. Okay. Yes. I didn't understand what this reference was, but are you going to do it for us?
I definitely could not do it. I'm not from Baltimore, right? So I don't know who Ray Lewis really is, right? But I heard that it was a Ray Lewis dance, but it was just so awkward. It was so awkward of him doing it when he did it, because it's supposed to be a celebratory dance, and he should have just done it. For him to say, Jeff, do you mind if I do a dance for the folks back home? It was weird. Okay, go ahead. And everybody else is, and I don't know if you saw Sam's face while he's doing it, because Sam's upset now. Sam's already brooding because he's now lost his vote temporarily anyways, but he doesn't know. So he's brooding, he's really upset. But that dance was a little strange.
I thought what was the worst part about the dance is the fact that he started doing the dance and then the necklace fell on the ground and then he kind of continued dancing. And I feel like Jeff was like, ooh, you're supposed to be honoring this, like, and it just like plunk on the ground. It seemed like it wasn't celebratory. No, it was.
Yeah, no, I think if he would have jumped off of the whatever the thing with, that they were standing in between, and then he would have jumped off and done it right there, it would have felt more natural or seemed more natural to me that he's celebrating. But he just wanted to do it for the folks at home, and it was a little strange, I thought. Anyhow,
it was like out of Seinfeld when what's her face did that, the thumb thing. It was awkward. It was just awkward.
I don't know who Ray Lewis is, so maybe he does have an awkward dance. But I
definitely I saw the dance.
Okay, so I find it
football, and he does a good job with it. But that's his dance of football.
His looked good. I don't know that Gabe really emulated it that well.
Let me look up Ray Lewis dance. Anyhow, moving right along.
Look it up, and then I just share it, and then we can watch it. Okay, so the winners, so the four of them are going to be going and getting some food. What did they win? They get a picnic, BLT. Camp with chips and soft drinks. That's pretty good. Teeny just gets to keep on eating. This is Gabe's first meal a real reward meal that he's having in 16 days. Kate says, I love the Elaine reference, my favorite scene from all of Seinfeld. I love Seinfeld.
It's true.
Did you find it, Dad?
Not yet, but move right along here. Just go ahead.
Okay. And so Sue and Genevieve are going to have nothing, so they're just going to be able to hang out with nothing going on. And then the other four people are going to be going on a journey to be playing to get to win their vote back, potentially. So at the picnic, we see Gabe and Saul having a burping competition. How did you find this, Sheila? You grossed out?
Just try to imagine how I felt about that.
I don't think you enjoyed
just
it.
think about it just for a moment.
I don't think you enjoyed it.
No, it was dumb. I mean, how old are we? Okay, these are grown men, and they have to sit there and do that. And production felt that they could spend all this time on it. It's like, could we just move on? I mean, okay, yeah, they've eaten. Obviously, their bodies are not used to this much food, and the soda. But really, I just felt like that was a lot of time wasted on something that really wasn't that important.
You didn't like the burping montage.
I really did not appreciate it.
Does anyone do that in their house? Really belch like that?
I don't know.
I know that it's supposed to be considered a form of like flattery of like whoever made the food, that is showing that you're enjoying what they've made or what they've cooked. But
where is that?
I was in a restaurant and I wanted to tell the chef that the food was so good, and I started. Stop. I just don't think the restaurant folks would think.
I think it's in homes.
This food must be really good.
Family
in homes. Like, are we just going to sit around the table and everyone just belch in honor of the delicious meal? I just don't see that happening.
I've not experienced it myself. But I have heard that there's some groups, some cultures where that is a sign of like respect for the food or whatever.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
It's just something that we're not used to. But I do agree that I didn't necessarily need to see like a 5-minute burping montage. It wasn't necessarily my vibe.
No. I guess my food isn't that great. No one burps in our house like that.
I actually really can't stand the sound of burps. It actually annoys me. Like I just like whenever I hear it, I'm just like it annoys me. I don't know. So I would have been annoyed if I was teeny in that situation, hearing these guys burps, because it grosses me out.
Kind of gross.
And the sound of it's annoying.
It's a bro thing.
I guess it's a bro thing.
What do you mean it's a bro thing?
It's a bro thing. I know that's kind of really not so socially acceptable to say, but I don't really see that many women just sitting there just burping. It's a bro thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Depends on if they enjoy the food.
At home.
Okay. Hold on, this is it. Hold on, I got this.
Press present.
Oh gosh. Why?
Press present at the bottom.
I gotta present it?
Yeah, just press it.
You're gonna share your screen.
I have to share my screen. I got lots of stuff going on here. Okay, hold on. So
just share that.
Present. Slides, video, share screen. Okay. So I'm gonna share a screen, and I'm gonna say which screen.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Sharing the best, or I'm not sure which screen I'm gonna end up sharing here.
Yeah, but be careful.
Let me try. Okay, so which screen am I sharing? Can you tell?
Live.
You'd have to press it for me to be able to see which one it is.
Allow. Okay, so I'm going to allow you to see my screen, I guess. Okay, mute. This is like too much. This is like
intense.
It shouldn't be this hard.
This is really difficult.
Are you okay? Like, you're very intense right now.
No, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, all you have to do.
Okay, here, I got it. I got it. No, I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
You're good. You know this stuff.
Oh boy.
There we go. So I'm going to allow. Okay, so you guys can see it.
I'm scared for what we might see.
Okay. Now
so this is not the best representation, I don't think, but here, this is kind of it, I think. Here. Hold on. Go back a little bit more.
Is that the Raiders, babe?
No, Baltimore, I believe. Hold on here. I think that's.
You're supposed to have this queued up.
I don't know how to do all this stuff. Okay, here we go.
We're learning.
We should have just sent you the link, Chantele.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Because he did do that thing, and that's when he lost the necklace when he threw his head back. Okay, got it.
That's what he was trying to do, anyways.
All right.
Okay,
so
I get it.
I could stop sharing. There we go. Back to the story.
You're back.
Look at that. Learned something new today. You know how to share a screen. So
now I know. That's going to be one of my things now, sharing the screen.
Exactly. Like, okay, let's see if we can share the screen today.
We're
Okay.
gonna have a
Really?
little vignette every week.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be perfect. Okay, so Teeny thinks that she would be fine with Sam being the one to go here. And then we get the confessional. Sheila, you must have had a thought when Kyle says, I don't really think Jen is a really social, strategic thinker here. And then you see Genevieve talking to Sue about the fact that, maybe that she brings up Saul wanting to go after Gabe, and that she's being pretty petty about this whole the Rome situation. You're nodding your head, Sheila. How do you feel about Kyle's impression of Genevieve?
It just shows how completely out of touch Kyle is with what's going on. Like, he's just like, la, 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 la. But he's concerned, obviously, because he didn't win the challenge. So now, he's a little exposed. But yeah, that was very telling as to where he's at with where the knowledge of where things are at. And Genevieve is just, doing her crafty, sneaky, elegant stuff.
Elegant. Daddy, you're going to say something? Or you were not?
No, no, I have nothing to say there.
Nothing.
Not a thing.
Even the fact that Genevieve says she's petty and she still wants to go after Saul now because of the Rome vote.
I was surprised at that, but yeah, she because she tried to mend it with him kind of, and I thought that they did kind of mend, but I think she was making a mistake by throwing Saul's name out, even though she should have gotten, as a girl, one of the guys, because I could see what's happening here. The guys are getting picked off here because there's, basically a little bit silly here and not going after any of the girls right now. Anyways, what is it? It's 5 girls, right? Is that what it's at right now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 girls and 4 guys now, or 3 guys.
Yeah, 3 guys now, right? So
3,
picking
no,
up
4.
the guys. Is it 4? Oh yeah, you got to count Andy.
No, sorry, Andy, I love you. Andy, Gabe, Kyle is left,
and
right?
Sam.
And Sam.
Sam. Okay, Sam.
Right, so
So
there's
yeah,
4
so
left.
it was 5-5 at that point, right? And then now it's 5-4.
Yeah, where I think it's with her, she has Soul, she's got Teeny, they're with her, and to get rid of Soul now because of Rome, who's not even on the jury. I mean, who cares, right? To get rid of Soul because she's got a vendetta against Saul. I don't think it's smart, because she had a couple of people that she knew were in her group, or whatever you call it, voting block, whatever it's called. But she had them there, and she's now blowing them because of that. So it didn't make sense to me for her to do that.
Yeah, some people are CD here is saying blindsiding Saul at Final 10 doesn't make sense for Genevieve. She's not playing to win. She is petty. I do have lots to say about this, but we'll come back to our thoughts of this move shortly. So Sam, of course, is upset that he didn't win. In his confessional, he's crying here about the fact that he really wanted to win, and he wanted to be able to I guess he feels really vulnerable knowing that he was on the bottom. He was left out of a vote. His closest ally went home, and so he's feeling like, I need to do something. And then now he might even lose his vote. He just probably feels, very vulnerable. And so now what they're going to have to do, the people that lost, so it's going to be Andy, Sam, Rachel, and Caroline are going to be basically playing Jenga, where they have to stack tiles in triangles and making a tall tower of these tiles, going one at a time. What do you guys think of this as a determining game to lose a vote in Survivor? You can tell my position.
That's on you, Sheila.
Oh, it's just so hit or miss. I mean, yes, there is skill involved, I guess. But it was just, at some point, no matter what you do, it's going to fall. It's just going to get so high that at some point, you could place it perfectly and it's going to topple. And it's just unfortunately where it toppled and who it toppled for. But yeah, it's just another Survivor challenge.
But your brother, Chantele, he plays Jenga quite a bit.
I love Jenga, but
Jenga. But you could have placed you could have placed these, and you notice this when
Make it
Rachel.
challenging
right
for the next
before-
person.
right before Rachel's turn, I believe it was, but she placed it off center.
That was Rachel.
That was Rachel. She placed it off center and got it on there, and then Andy, luckily he got his on, and then Caroline came and she didn't make it with that. So someone's always going to lose on that. And I thought, the way they did it was fine because it's only one person's going to lose. So the way they did the game was okay. And 3 people got to keep their votes and 1 lost it. I thought it was right.
Did we need this element?
In the game?
Yeah, like do we need for them to play Jenga to keep their vote? Like, I just didn't know if we needed it.
Well, I think where this comes in is that you've got now 3 groups that are separated. You got one group here that are playing Jenga or playing the card game. You've got another group that are belching, and then you've got Sue and Genevieve. They're back at the camp here, and I actually saw a secret scene. They're looking for idols, right? So,
well, what else are they gonna do?
Yeah, they were looking for idols, and in this secret scene, Sue did not want to really look for an idol with Genevieve. She didn't want to find an idol with Genevieve. She would have rather go off on her own. But you got 3 different groups that are doing different things. So you've got now Saul, that group, Saul, Andy, Gabe, and his last one, Kyle.
Oh, the guys, okay.
And they're throwing out names. They're throwing out names there. You've got people at this card thing that are throwing out names right at the end of that. They're saying who they want. And I was surprised that Caroline's, threw Kyle's name out because she's the one that wanted to hold that group together. So not. And then you've got the girls that I think, who did they throw out? They threw out, was it Sam when they were back at the camp? But they threw a name out there.
Well, okay, the people at the picnic, when everybody got back, Sam immediately blurts out Sam was the person that everybody was kind of talking about because
Saul did. Saul
yeah, so Saul blurted out Sam. So Sam was still doing the whole Jenga game. But Jen says that she was playing it off, that she's just going to be happy, that she's going to be able to make it another day. And I was like, oh boy, she's laying it on thick. Uh-oh. I guess somebody, I can't remember who mentioned this on one of the recaps that I'd watched, but they were just talking about the one thing with Survivor is, yes, there's a lot of physical. There's like the outwit, the outplay, and outlast. And with the physical element, yes, we know that there's going to be some challenges that are really tough that not everybody's going to be physically capable of doing and excelling well in. And so what you have at least is your vote. Your vote is something that no matter what, you don't need to be physically able to have your vote. And this particular challenge made you have to be physically able to guarantee that you keep your vote. And so it just takes a little bit for me and for whomever I'm not giving credit to for this thought. It just takes a little bit from their agency in the game where, like, okay, I might not be the strongest, but I know I have my vote and I know I can, make a say in what goes on in this game. And so that's kind of why I didn't really care for it. But I can appreciate the fact that people were separated to allow different plans to come together. And then when they all get back together, we all have a different idea as to what's going to go on now. So we have to figure out what's going on. So I can see it in that perspective for sure. So Genevieve and Gabe go for a little walk, and she's like, well, you might not expect this coming from me, but she talks about how Teeny and Saul were really wanting Gabe to be out of the game. Like the vote was going to be you, which is true. She wasn't really lying, but Genevieve, why are you telling this to Gabe already? I'm like, it's getting dicey. Sheila, I know you're supportive of Jen, but were you kind of dicey with her pushing this plan so early?
Yeah, I mean, she took a chance. I think that I don't buy that she was salty about Saul and Rome. I don't buy it. I think she saw Saul was buzzing around. He had a social game going. And I think that she found just the way the dynamics were working, that she could get enough people to side with her to get rid of Saul, because maybe she was feeling that Saul was making inroads. I don't know, but I really don't think that she was salty about Rome at this point in the game. Like, she's not harboring that. I think that she's beyond that. I think there was more to that, her getting Saul out, than just that. That's just my impression.
I agree with you here. I did feel when she started pushing this, I was like, I do think it's early, but I definitely can make an argument as to why I think she might have made this this move, and I'm agreeing with that position. And Hale's saying, I'm wondering if Genevieve figured out Saul saved Rachel. I don't know if she might have figured that out completely, but the fact that Genevieve and Caroline wanted Rachel out that last vote, and Saul wanted to keep Rachel. And we didn't see it, but I'm wondering how much pressure or what he said to be like, no, we're keeping Rachel, that maybe rubbed Genevieve the wrong way and was like, wait, we want Rachel out right now. Like, why do you get to keep who you want? And so she let it happen, and then maybe she's coming to exact her revenge here. So that's one of the reasons why I also think that, I don't know if she figured it out, but she might have. But I think it's with that Rachel save was something that was like, oh, Saul gets his way at the merge. I don't know if I like that, because that's not exactly what I wanted to happen this round. So
yeah, I felt like she felt threatened, and it's not part of her plan.
Yeah. And also, go ahead.
I'm just reading here. One of my notes is that it really puts paints a target on her back now as a strategist. So Kyle could not say now that she doesn't strategize, right? Because it does put a target on her back, that she's a strategist, she's playing the game. So again, coming forward and putting that forward for no reason. I don't know if she had to do that at that point, because she was safe. She could have just went with the flow, got out Sam, would have been done, right? But her now pushing Saul really puts her in a position where, she's a strategist.
Can I just say, though, that I don't feel like she really was that overt about it. She's she really like makes people believe that it's their idea. Like, she has a way of asking the questions and leading them to come up with these ideas. And it's kind of like, that's what she wants. So she's very good at leading people. And I feel like Sue, she kind of threw it out there, and Sue was all over it. So I feel like she, I don't know. I felt like Saul was not working her game, her plan, and she wanted to get back on track with her plan. So
yeah, I mean, I agree. However, there was there was some avertness when she went to the Godfather, or the Gabe father, and said, this is what I'm thinking, and here's why, and here's one thing I need you to know, that they threw your name out. So that, all of a sudden Gabe was, his hairs went up, and he was, a little upset. He was upset at Tini and Saul and Sam for throwing his name out.
And so then Gabe does say that if, Kyle, I think was fine with it. And they're all saying, as long as Caroline has her vote. So as long as Caroline has her vote, we will go through this Saul plan, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So as learned at the journey, Caroline, of course, is the one that loses her vote. She's definitely a good sport about it. Being like, she congratulated on Rachel on making a really great move right before her, and she was in a sticky position, and her tower topples down. So the journey people come back. Caroline immediately admits that she lost her vote. Then we see Genevieve tell Andy, like, oh, do you want to do something crazy? And she knows how to get people enticed with a plan. Yes. Like, that's the way to go to Andy.
True.
Like,
it's true.
Fun? Like, and Andy's like, okay, tell me, what are we doing? What are we doing? So excited to admit it. And he's like, okay, I thought about Saul as an idea. Maybe not now, it might be too soon. But if you get the numbers, I'll be in. And I love their interaction and how she knew the best way to appeal to him. I thought it was great. And so like that's another little number that she has that we haven't really seen a little more development with, but I do think that she has a stronger relationship with Andy than we've seen on the show. So Genevieve then tells Rachel. Now, this is something else that I think that this was a little bit of a test here. Now, she wanted Rachel out immediately, right? Last episode, Saul was the one that presumably had to be saved, and instead it went Sierra. And she goes and she tells Rachel this plan, but she's like, but just don't tell Sam about this one. And Rachel, she's kind of getting information here, and she doesn't tell Sam, but Sam alludes to Sam, it's not you, but like I can't tell you who it is. And Sam's like, can I guess? And so Sam guesses that it's going to be Saul, and it looks like immediately Sam takes off and goes and starts trying to change things around and tells people. So I'm wondering if Genevieve did this just to see if she could trust Rachel, if Rachel's someone that she could work with. Now she might have some, reason for other people to want to maybe take out Rachel because like, oh, she's the one that blew up this plan. She's the one that can't be trusted. I don't know. I was just wondering if she's trying to frame Rachel a little bit with telling her this, because they didn't necessarily need Rachel's number for this plan to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, as you know, loose lips sink ships, right? So, I mean, for her to go and tell Sam the plan, definitely put, I think, a target on her back now, because Rachel got that information from Genevieve. So I agree with you 100%. But I thought it was interesting that Sam right away goes and grabs Saul, and he starts the chaos. He just gets it going right there.
Sam wants to make a big move now, and he has some power, and he could have maybe done something about it, but I don't know if they had enough time with how long from when they came back from the journey to when they had to go to tribal council, because I think it was a shorter time period than we can really tell.
No, actually, I read somewhere that they went way into the dark, so they went as long as they could go, because they were buzzing around at camp. And they went as long as they can go, because they were going to lose the light. And eventually the production said, hey, pack up. We got to go. Right. So they went as long as they could.
Well, how long is that, though? Is that 6 hours, or is that like an hour and a half? You know what I mean?
I have no idea, but it was longer than most pre-tribals, right? So because they went way into the dark, or when it was, we got to go now. Like, that's it. We got to go.
It's because the groups were so splintered and in different locations. So the losers had to come back from their journey, and they weren't and so the time that everyone was together was a shorter period of time than normal.
Oh,
okay. So what I read is production kind of let them kind of go at it. But at one point they had to just say, that's it. And I felt like there was names being thrown out at the last minute. And then, this one changed it was just kind of crazy.
It definitely was crazy. So Sam now wants to push the target onto Sue, because Sue is the most insulated. And I was like, okay. I'm like, sure. I don't know if you're going to be able to get people to vote out Sue here. But then I was like, well, Sue has her idol. So that would be very interesting to see if like this idol play got played. And then maybe Sue would hear that was Sam, and then it would just like retaliate against Sam. Like that would have been kind of like fun, just desserts here. And so he's hoping that Genevieve, Teeny, Sam, Saul, and Andy would vote out Sue. So Teeny votes Sue, and then Saul tells her, what am I writing here? I don't remember. It was definitely convoluted. Sam tells Andy to vote out Sue. Teeny tells Genevieve to vote out Sue, I guess. Rachel regrets telling Sam, because there's a lot of confusion. Everybody's running around. At one point, I believe Saul and Teeny talked to Genevieve about hearing that his name was the vote, and and she was just like, oh, like what? How do they have the numbers? And playing dumb. But I thought that they would have figured out in that moment that she would have had to have been in on it, because where are the numbers coming from? But they didn't seem to clue in at that point. We didn't know who the vote was. It was an old-fashioned scramble, which I do enjoy about Survivor. And this is what happens when people have votes to play with, right? When we take.
But everyone had a vote except for Caroline, so pretty well everyone had a vote.
And Gabe. Oh no, Gabe had a vote. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the thing is, though,
immunity.
Yeah,
I do wonder if things might have gone differently if Caroline had her vote, because she doesn't really have a voice if she doesn't have a vote. And that might not have been the direction that she would have wanted to go in. And it seems like her and Genevieve are able to have a similar idea as to how the gameplay should go. So I'm just wondering if things might have gone differently.
Well, she wanted Kyle, though. She wanted Kyle out. At least she said Kyle, and he's the obvious one to say. All of them could say, "Hey, who do you think should go next?" Well, Kyle is the challenge beast, right? So he's an easy person to put out there because everyone's thinking that. So
yeah, this is what Kate's
so
saying
she
here
might have
as
threw it
well.
out there.
Kate was saying maybe if Sam had said Kyle, it would have worked better. Potentially, I thought it was interesting that Sam immediately went Sue. It could have been that whole keep the men together and not want to target another guy, and so that's probably why he was wanting to protect Saul here, just to maybe keep their numbers in that way. So, but it might have had a little bit more traction if he had said Kyle, maybe. So Red Tribal, Sierra comes in there. She did not look happy at all. She was big mad.
Salty, a little salty.
Very salty.
Do they normally walk them in? I thought that with Tribal, the jury's usually already sitting there, right? But in this case, she walked in.
No,
they walk in every time. Do they?
I don't know if with the timing of it all. No, yeah, usually the cast that's still in the game is sitting there. Then the jury walks in because they usually watch the jury walk in and sit down.
Oh, okay.
Usually,
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless it's like something weird that they're doing. They obviously are talking about the challenge. Kyle talking about how, this is the first time that he lost immunity and like, is he nervous and scared? All those regular conversations. Saul tells Jen, okay, did you notice this, Sheila? That when they started all like chit-chatting and like, who's the vote? Nobody knew who the vote was, who's in, everybody whispering while they're having this conversation with Jeff. And at one point, Saul turns to Genevieve and said, who are you voting for? No, Sue. No, he said Sue. And I felt the way that Genevieve said, the last thing you said was Kyle, was in a way that she was not working with him anymore. And she did not she was actually kind of pissed that she was talking to her. Did you notice this or no? Or is it just
I mean, this whole thing with them getting up, and from some of the reading that I'd done, it's like that some people are really upset about the fact that in the old era, let's say old school, no one got up in Tribal. Like everyone, when you sit, you sit. And when you get up to vote, you get up to vote. But no, there wasn't this banding together and people jumping up and having little meetings during Tribal. When have you seen that? Is that something in the new era that they've done?
It's the new era thing. Jeff calls it a live Tribal. And so this is a lot of the mechanics that he's putting into the game, not giving them that full extra day to strategize and come up with the plan and the backup plan and the backup to the backup plan. They don't have as much time anymore because they lose out on an entire day with the new shooting schedule of the show. So it used to be on like 3 episodes, 3 days would be an episode. So you'd have like a challenge, then you'd have the next challenge, then you'd have confessionals and strategizing time and tribal council. And so it was spread out so that you'd have more time to concoct a plan. And now what you have a couple hours before the sun goes down and try to get something together. And so in turn, things aren't finalized, and so now Jeff is allowing people to talk at Tribal because he calls them.
They're having like conversations behind whoever Jeff's interviewing at that moment. Everyone else is having like a conversation behind that person, talking about what they're doing. Yeah, Genevieve, I felt like she was like, "Oh, you're so done."
She was.
You're so done.
Not happy. She was so cold to him. If I was Saul, the way that she responded to me in that moment, I would have played my shot in the dark. I'd be like, okay, I've heard my name and you're supposed to be my ally. And you did not make me feel warm and cuddly here about that. We're like, don't worry, you're good. Or we're voting
right.
Not at all. So I would be playing my shot in the dark. Genevieve also says that she has a license to kill from seeing her name on the parchment that first Tribal. And I was like, okay, she is taking out Saul. She has a license to kill. Girl. So Teeny is asking Sam who it is, and nobody seems to know who it is. Teeny feels weird. I love those Andy being like, "Oh, yeah, we had to answer your questions while there's whispering going on." It's like, I don't really want to answer your questions right now, Jeff. I need to get involved in this whispering, which I thought was also great.
I thought it was great when Andy stood up and there was a pack there and they're whispering, and he went over and he's like, "I want to hear too." I thought that was pretty funny. Can I get in there?
Of course. So
did it change?
Teeny does say to Gabe, but I'm hearing Saul. They're saying from who. It was really, it was a live tribal. It was fun and electric for sure. I had a feeling from that, like from the two things that Genevieve said, so like the license to kill and how she responded to Saul. I was like, I feel like Saul is the vote. And yeah, it was. So Saul gets the first vote, then Sue, then Saul. Everybody else voted for Saul here. Nobody played any advantages or idols. They did pan over to Sue. I was like, Sue is not playing no idol here. I did not feel that one coming at all. And Saul says, "Good game, guys. Love you, Teeny. Go get him." Like, oh.
And Teeny did her obligatory.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Well, we do learn though that I didn't see it in a secret scene, but somebody said it in a recap, I believe, that Saul said that he knew that it was going to be him that was voted out, and they couldn't really do anything about it, and that Teeny did tell him that it was Genevieve that led that vote. So I did think that maybe Genevieve would have been able to at least go out unscathed here, and then like maybe as the people go to the jury, they would have like a more finesse story. But Saul is going out knowing that Genevieve led the charge here, and he was surprised because he thought that they had kind of mend fences.
Do you think that there's a difference between sitting in the front row or sitting behind everybody? I mean, I certainly do think that there's a benefit to sitting behind, because then you really can look and see what's going on, as opposed to if you're in front, you don't know what's going on behind you. So are they placed in those seats?
Yeah, there's a seating plan.
There is a seating plan. Okay.
Yeah. They'd asked, I think it was Sierra, that, and they said that, you learn where you're being asked to sit. So,
okay.
So I would always want to be in the back middle, please. I'll take that, or back on the ends, but back middle probably would be my ideal place. So yeah, they do have a seating plan. They don't get to sit wherever they want, unfortunately. Unfortunately, so Genevieve is out. So the biggest narrative that's happening Genevieve. Saul is out due to the hands of Genevieve. A lot of people in the ethos are talking about this being Genevieve's game-losing decision, that it was too early, she didn't need to. And immediately I did think that maybe, timing was too soon, kind of like how City's reminding us that Andy thought the timing might have been too soon. I can agree with that for sure. The timing could be soon. Yes, this could be a game-losing decision, but if I were to argue the other side as to why she did it and how I think that it might be a game-winning decision, so for the things I've already mentioned, but she's also has all these targets ahead of her, right? There's still these 4 Tukus. There's no way that everybody's going to band together to get out Genevieve and allow for 4 Tukus to stay in the game, because at that point, then they're going to have 4 out of 4. Like, so they're going to have a tie at worst. And then when they're going to go to rocks, like, chances are Tuku might be able to strong arm the other people and bring one person over to keep their numbers. So I just don't see Tuku being broken up. So that's going to be at least one vote, I would say, that Genevieve has in front of her. She also has Sam, then she has Kyle, then she has all the big guys that are ahead of her, that I think would be ahead of getting some retaliation for Genevieve. The only person that I think is really going to be upset with Genevieve is Teeny, and we've learned that Teeny doesn't really have that much social capital. She wanted Sam to be the vote last round, and she wasn't able to make that happen. So and she's been blindsided now a couple of times. As much as she's great socially, I don't know if she can gather the numbers to go and take out Genevieve here. So I don't think that Teeny's that much of a threat in this situation. I do think she still has Andy. I think that Caroline still wants to take out Rachel. And so I just think that she, maybe it was early, but I just don't see a group of people getting together to take out Genevieve because of this move. I think that there's bigger fish to fry, and she might be able to sneak by for three tribals, we'll say, and then she's in the final 5, and she might be able to win her way to the end at that point because all the big guys would be out. So I think that she still could be in a fine position. You're nodding, Sheila. What do you think about the discourse that's going on?
I think that she took a chance and she got rid of Saul. And fun fact, Saul and Teeny are really tight. Like even like now, like somewhere I saw or read that Saul, Teeny came over to his place to watch the episode, and Teeny's mom came too. So they're like they hang out a lot together, which I think is kind of fun. But I think Genevieve has a very clear idea of what she's doing and weighed out her options and decided that yes, she admitted on camera that Teeny's gonna it could be a problem, but I don't think she feels it's a big threat.
Right, like who's going to band together to get her out? We see in the preview for the next episode that Sue is still on the Kyle train, so that's something that could be pushed. I think that everybody. I think that she could make an argument for almost everybody to be the next target before her. The fact that we don't know how long her and Sue were hanging out together, but it was going to be for a few hours. There's going to be some sort of loyalty, solidarity going on there. I just don't see Sue immediately flipping on Genevieve to take out her. Like, I just don't see that happening right now. So as much as I thought it was early, I think that she's going to be fine.
And one of the bros is, I think, like this next week, it could be who's going to win immunity or not. And that could determine who's going to, who she's going to, well, I'm saying her, but who will be targeted. So, it should be interesting.
And also with Rachel having that idol too. Like, I just don't know if they're going to, I just don't think they're going to target Genevieve as much as other people do. Yeah. What do you think, Dad?
Gabe is, well, no, I agree with you. Unfortunately, Gabe is ahead of that because they know that he's running the Tuku tribe. So everybody's kind of got that. I don't want to say what I'd normally say, but they've got that for Tuku, right? They want to get that broken up. So that definitely goes before Genevieve.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people know that Genevieve actually steered it too.
Well, this is true. CD is reminding us that Gabe did say to Kyle that blindsiding Soul was Genevieve's move. Gabe is a smart player. So I'm thinking what might end up happening is, because we see in the preview that it's Kyle. I wonder if they're going to make it look like it's Kyle, but then they do a sneak attack on Gabe.
Okay, that'll be interesting.
Because it would have to be that Sue doesn't know that it's happening. And so I feel like it's going to be something like that. That's my guess, but I don't actually know. Do we have an MVP this episode? Is it Genevieve? Like, we don't know if her move was good or not yet, but it was still masterful, I would say, getting it executed.
I don't know. Gabe did play well. He played well. I still have to give Genevieve the props, but I mean, I thought Gabe did well. I mean, he won
on this one, I definitely would say Genevieve again, because she orchestrated the whole thing. So unfortunately, Sheila, I have to side with you and say Genevieve for sure. And then of course Gabe, I mean, he did well with the challenge. That was critical, because he might have had his name on there if he didn't win the challenge. Who knows?
Yeah, I think he would have been, unless Sue used his idol, but he would have been on that chopping block, I would say. For sure. Kate says, I also hadn't thought about a target on Rachel from Genevieve. That makes me worry for Rachel more than I had been. Rachel could get astray here too. Because, leaving, I'm not sure what Genevieve is going to do. I don't know if she feels threatened by the men here, but more so than she feels threatened by the people that can really manipulate this strategy and like gain the friends and the allies. And so maybe if she has a chance, she'll take out Rachel here, being like, okay, Rachel A is not working with me. She's supporting Sam. Let's make it look like it's Kyle or Gabe, but actually take out Rachel here. I don't know. I feel like a blindside is happening. Who is going home? I don't think it has any idea who's going home.
A blindside happens every single episode. It seems.
It doesn't usually happen like God.
That's
So
what's happening right now. So yeah, good guess, sir. That it's going to be a blindside.
well, okay. But my two people I think that might get blindsided is either me, Rachel, or Gabe. As my two people that I think might be going home.
Okay, interesting.
Do you guys see?
We shall see. We shall see.
Something different? All right.
No,
People think
we
it's
should-
going to be Genevieve. I was like, I know it's early, but I just don't see her going home next.
I don't see that yet. No,
I don't see everybody getting together and getting the numbers against her. I just don't see it.
No, well, you're the psychic in the family. So.
I know so are you. I told you your Egypt story yesterday on the plane. Anyways, that's for another chat. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me today.
Hey, thank you.
Everybody here in the chat as well. Any final words before we say goodbye for the week?
Just looking forward to the next episode now.
Woo, woo. Me too.
I got to work on my chart.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, okay. So MVP Gabe. We got a Gabe.
Gabe.
Okay, Gabe and Genevieve. We'll give one to each of them.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Bye. See you, everybody. Please subscribe. Yes, subscribe. Like the video.